It is Tuesday, October the 24th at a little bit after 6 p.m. We'll call to order this meeting of the Murphysboro City Council. As is tradition, I'd ask if we would all rise and begin by singing I Pride, Nation, and King.
Lord, as we gather together, we ask you to be in our conversations and the decisions that we make. We know, Lord, that we don't always agree with one another, but we can certainly be civil with one another. Help us to move forward as you have for us to. And bless each of the members of this council and the personnel that represent around the sides of the room. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Alderman Jackson. Here. Alderman Pitt.
Here.
Alderman Irvis.
Here.
Alderman McCall.
Here.
Alderman Ritchie.
Here.
Alderman Black.
Here. All right, before we consider the minutes, I have an obligation to fulfill. Last week I wagered that the Murphysboro Red Devils would beat the DuQuoin Indians in a football game, and the Red Devils were unable to overcome the Indians, and so the mayor of DuQuoin asked me to wear a DuQuoin Indian shirt at the next city council meeting, and so this is a red button-up that says anyways, good fun there, and we look forward to the Red Devils playoff game this coming Saturday. With that being said, we have consideration of minutes from our meeting on October 10th, 2023. I'd entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That'll take us into our regular committee and commission reports. Up first, we have budget and finance chaired by W.J. Pittman. W.J.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no items under old business. On new business, we have consideration of pay estimate number 3 for the water tower renovation project. And then consideration of pay estimate number 4 for the water tower renovation project. Carol, do you want everything on here like this?
Yeah, I think the tank, the first pay estimate 3 was, they completed painting of the tank at that time, and the pay estimate is for $241,200.72.
Okay. Are there any questions about the 2 pay estimates?
The second pay estimate, WJ, pay estimate 4, that covered, they did install the telemetry in that time between the last meeting and this meeting, so that pay estimate is $40,157.06, and wanted to have, we are still withholding about $30,000 on that contract.
How does our forgiveness factor into these payments exactly?
Well, there was $1 million loan, 50% was loan for forgiveness, so when we go in for fund requests, they spend all the loan forgiveness first.
Okay.
So once that $500,000 was gone, then they started incurring loan money. So basically, it's just like a $500,000 grant.
I'm assuming we need to vote on these separately, so
Yes, you should.
entertain a motion to pay estimate number 3.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Approve pay estimate number 4.
We have a motion on pay estimate number 4.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item under new business is the consideration of accounts payable register. Does anybody have any questions on the bills?
What's that about?
Hearing none, entertain a motion to pay the bills. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And then next item is financial statements prepared by Scott Evans, which passed out prior to the meeting. Scott?
Thank you, WJ. So what, a couple of the usual suspects, the income tax voucher receipts for the month. I'm happy to say we got 122,000, almost 123,000 this month. Blowing my theory out of the water that, the state is having less receipts coming in because of less capital gain. So, we've had some months lower and some higher, but that's pretty strong October right there, which would probably be receipts from a month or two ago. So, we should be, even if the next 2 months are, roughly the same as they were, we should exceed budget by, probably $75,000 to $100,000. So, that's, I guess I'd rather be to the positive, being 100,000 lower, right? So, that's a good positive development. So that's that report. Last we kind of, the mayor alluded to the debts and various things that the city does have, so I thought it'd be appropriate to bring that statement back into this meeting to just give you a flavor of what debts we do have out there. If you look at the general fund first, you'll see that we still have 3 bank loans left. Extrication equipment has a little bit less than 18,000 to go, less than 2 years, and the 2022 F-150 or F-250 and the digital radio equipment both were borrowed at the same time, and those balances are down to 27,700 for the F-250 and 54,000 and change for the digital equipment. So we have just a hair under $100,000 at this point in general fund loan balances, and those last 2, of course, being 60-month loans and started last year, we have 49 payments to go on each one of those. And you can see the rates there. Those are still fantastic rates. We're actually getting, almost 2% higher now on our CDs, so we're in pretty good shape there. And of course, the biggest debts we have at this point are the water system, as you know. The water loan and the wastewater treatment plant loan are still the same balance as they were the last time I reported this, because if you recall, those are twice-a-year payments in May and November. And so the Wall Street loan is still at $902,000, and the wastewater plant is $10,394,000. And again, here in less than a month, we'll be paying that second semi-annual payment for the year. And then we have 4 other loans remaining. We have basically 3 new pickup trucks, 1 for each year. The first one's down at $13,000 and change. The second one's at $14,000 and change. And the one we just bought last year, still we have a balance of $32,600 on that. All 3 really great rates there too. And don't forget, we have the Vector truck, which is down to $134,000 from an original balance of $144,000. As you can see, since that was bought, the rate is 5.48 and not 2 or 3% like we were used to. And we still don't know the loan is going to be until all the smoke clears, but as Harold said, it should be somewhere around $500,000. And I believe that rate is still around 2%, isn't it?
193.
Yeah, 1.93%, which is fantastic. So we're at $11,491,000 of debt in the water sewer system. So that's where we're at with those. Any questions on those reports or anything in general?
Thank you, Scott.
Sure.
That's the last item of new business. Is there any public comment on your budget and finance? Hearing none, we can move out of budget.
Thank you, WJ. That takes the building and grounds chaired by Mr. Mike Austin. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. Under building and grounds, we have no old business and we have no new business. Do we have any public comment regarding building and grounds? With none, Mayor, we can move out of building and grounds. Thank you.
All right, that takes the community relations chaired by Ms. Curry Woods.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business and no new business. We have any public comment. Hearing none, we can move out of community relations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Janice. That takes us to public improvement chaired by Mr. Don Gladden, and we have under old business a couple of items here regarding amendments to the Jackson County Enterprise Zone. I know we have a number of people who wish to speak to the issue. Just to make things efficient, if you wish to speak to it, we just ask that you would state your name and who you may be representing, whether it's the school district or just as a citizen, so that we can have that appropriately noted in the minutes, and then so that we can be efficient in our meeting. I don't want anyone to feel like they are cut off, but if you can in any way abbreviate your remarks so that everyone who wants to have a voice can have one, that's also appreciated too. So with that being said, Mr. Gladden, would you like me to?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. Well, under old business, we have consideration of ordinance amending ordinance 1819 to amend territory of the Murphysboro, Murphysboro, Jackson County Enterprise Zone. I would first, I believe we have representatives here from Revon, the company that proposes to be doing a solar project that a part of this expansion would take in. Do we have representatives from them here that would like to speak?
So my name is Tommy Hudzik. I'm the Director of Development here with Revon, one of the project managers. I guess in the interest of time and to make the best use of everyone else's time, we're here to answer questions. I mean, we can provide a project summary if you'd like, but we can also hand out PowerPoint slides that we have as well for the members of the board if they'd like as well.
And just so you know, in advance of the meeting tonight, the 40-page PDF that is the economic impact analysis was shared with the members of the council via email. If there's anybody here that, needs an additional copy of that or something, of course.
And Mr. Mayor, my name is Jeffrey Lee. I'm also with the Revon Community Relations. Would it help the body if we gave some more information just for you to review? But
I don't
obviously
think
we had
anybody would, be opposed to that, members of the council. Sure.
Okay, so I'll just kind of pass it out if it's okay.
Sure.
So
Your last name is what?
Hudzik, Hudzik. Of course, thank you. So inside the packets that Jeff has handed out, you'll see some information about the project itself, what our request is kind of outlining, as well as the company itself. So like I said, you feel free to review. I can kind of give an overview of the project and what a Revon is. That would make your interest, but in the interest of time, I defer to what you'd like to do, Mr. Mayor.
If you want to give a overview, sort of the elevator speech of the project, we welcome that.
Sure. So the project is in, about 1,200 acres. It's going to be a 95 megawatt solar project right here in the county. The project is projected to start construction in 2025 and then go into operation in 2026. Very high level. The project over across the periods of construction in terms of economic benefits to the county. During construction, so the one-year construction period, the project will generate $20 million in new earnings for the county, as well as $44 million in new economic growth going back into the county as well. Which we expect to be about 30 years currently. A little less than $500,000 in new earnings we've given back into the county, as well as $1.2 million in economic growth. During construction, we're looking at about 400 local construction jobs, as well as 12 full-time jobs, up to 12 full-time jobs while the project's in operation for 30 years.
What, 12 full-time permanent jobs?
Correct.
On site with you?
They would be direct employees of the Revon, yes. And there'll be our operation maintenance folks, so the people who would respond to the site and anything breaks down, the maintenance and operation for the site on a day-to-day basis.
Where would they be located?
They'd be residents local here.
So, well, I get that, but, I mean, there's not gonna be an office building on the farm or anything like that, is there?
There will be an operation maintenance building on the
Okay, there
facility.
is.
Correct.
Okay. So 12 permits.
Up to 12, correct.
That's a little more than what the economic study gave us before. That's why I was really questioning that.
It's in between, it's up to 12 full-time equivalent jobs. So it could be 16 people working 20 hours a week. It's all based upon the project dynamics and how many people can we find to work on the project.
Mr. Urbis?
The equivalent of 12, is this correct, what you're saying? It will be equivalent of 12 full-time
Up to 12, correct.
employees or jobs, if you would, but it could be 16 people doing 20 hours a time or whatever.
However, it would equate out to 12 full-time equivalent jobs.
How do you determine that? Just by what's needed in maintenance?
Correct, and resources that are available in the local area, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Urbis?
What's an average salary for a full-time position?
It depends on years of experience, just like any other job. Anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 is an average salary for an operation maintenance technician on a project.
That's for full-time.
For full-time equivalent salary, correct. And like I said, it all depends on years of experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those employees get benefits as well?
Correct.
Mr. McComb?
Do you hire local people?
Our Revon's stance is we want to hire as many local people as possible. We can't dictate construction jobs where other people are on other projects, but we will start and advocate for as many local jobs as possible, and as needs grow, we'll continue to expand our circle to jobs that are further located out.
Are you in the practice of signing building agreements with the local contractors?
So,
Or do you use out-of-state help?
I'm sorry?
Well, a lot of contractors come in, they sign an agreement with the building trade agreement, and that hires local qualified people.
Mhm.
If they don't have somebody qualified, then with that agreement, you're willing to hire whoever can do the job. I don't know if you guys are used to signing one of them or not.
We are having ongoing discussions with several different trades groups in the area as well, but nothing has been executed yet because we're still very early on in the project development cycle.
Yeah, well,
Well, what we can say, it is definitely our preference to be able to hire locally. Whether it's us specifically or us through our EPC, which is our contractor, that is something that we strive for.
I know a lot of people use out-of-state contractors for different phases of their work. And some of those will sign a contract, and some of them does it with all out-of-state help, instead of hiring local people that's qualified to do the job.
Our Revon's policy, and we have built other projects in the past, we do our best, and once again, we can't dictate the skill sets that are close to the project, right? But we will do our best to utilize local resources to the extent practicable. And then as certain skill sets are needed and those aren't provided in the local area, our searches will grow. I mean, there's only so many people who can do a certain amount of things, but our goal, right, is 425 local construction jobs, up to 650 state of Illinois jobs, just because there's certain skill sets that aren't readily available everywhere.
Yeah, and part of the benefits of a project like this is that, we try to stay local. The impact would be about 44 million during the life of the construction phase, right? And so that's the ripple effect of the local economy that we have. We're cognizant, and it is a priority for us to stay as local as possible.
That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Of course.
Not seeing any other questions from the council at this time. I know we have. Oh, excuse
We've got a
me.
few questions. How long have you all been working on this?
On this project, so we had a development partner, they were Tenasco, and the development partner and ourselves, we've been working on this project since conception, about 2 years.
2 years?
Correct. Give or take a month or so, but roughly 2 years.
And you said the life of this will be roughly, did I hear, I think I saw the economic study, 20 to 25 years? But you're gonna decommission it in 35 years?
So hopefully I'm not working in 35 years and we all won the lottery and the Pittsburgh Pirates won the World Series and life's got easy.
You just went down a notch.
The way you market a project when you find a buyer to buy electricity, they buy it in 20-year stints. So right now, all the models have the project as a lifespan of 20 years, but the average life cycle for a utility scale solar project is about 30 years. We don't know where technology is going to be in 30 years from now, so whether we can reuse the panels that we currently use, we know technology keeps getting better, if we're going to put new panels in, the footprint will shrink. But right now, the industry average is about 30 years, but with a 20-year contract with energy.
So that was one of my questions, what was gonna happen at the end of that life cycle? Is it just gonna be left there? You're hoping, or somebody's hoping, that you guys will be retired.
And we're not gonna say that about the Pittsburgh.
So do you currently have customers for the power that you're gonna produce?
The product's currently being marketed. There are a few customers who are interested in the electricity, but it comes down to the final price that we can charge them. And the economic zone potentially being applied to it in price of equipment and utilities and labor, that higher price gets kind of packaged up and then we market the price to the open market.
So it is a competitive process that we go through.
I just got one other question. I see on here, and I think that's why a lot of the other people are here too, is that you're going to donate $75,000 to the Elmville School District.
Correct.
Okay. I guess my only question would be, I would have loved to have seen you donate the entire amount that would have been rebated, or rebated, or abated on this project to them, because that's, to me, very concerned about the school districts. And I know this particular one is having a tough time. So that would have been my only suggestion, is to actually donate the full amount to them.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly appreciate the comment, and, you know, my wife's a teacher, right, so, and she teaches in a disadvantaged community, so I get that. You know, we look at the package of funding for the community, right, and so right now, that is what we can do before we even enter construction. So it's not, before we even make, you know, $1, 1 cent, that is something we want to continue to do.
And it is worth noting that a Revon stance in our past projects, right? We do establish scholarship funds in the community. There is continued giving going along, and we work with those community groups to identify where needs, desires lie, and we do our best to work with those individuals, right? Whether it's local fire stations, schools, training programs, scholarship programs, sports boosters clubs. These projects, like I mentioned, could be 30+ years in operation, and we want to be that good neighbor. We don't want to be the neighbor who's having a party at 3 in the morning and you're calling the police because the music's still blaring. We want to be in the community a good neighbor where you can feel comfortable knocking on our door and asking for a cup of milk.
And it's worth noting, thanks for that comment, it's worth noting that our priorities are in public safety, in disadvantaged communities or vulnerable populations, in the school district, and STEM and education, right? So it's not just the $75,000 that we're going to give up to the school. It's a package support that we give to the community, right? So there's going to be other things along with that. And
Examples.
so examples would be, some things that we kind of do are STEM education, right? It might come in the form of a scholarship or a food bank, right? Or it might be supporting the firefighters, right? Those are all things that we're going to have to flush out, but those are things that we've done in the past, and those are things that we are vested in for the community. On top of that, when the project gets built, we do have another bucket of funding, so that funding kind of goes through the life cycle of the project. So it's not just $75,000.
Where does that bucket of funding come from?
The other bucket of funding is when the project is built, then we want to do, you know, every year we want to kind of contribute and have that maintained, right? So it's not going to be like a huge amount up front, but it's going to be year after year, there's going to be some amount that we give to the community.
I mean, the one thing I guess to kind of close out Jeff's statement is, these projects, as I said, we've gone 2 years now working on this, and we're on step 7 of 342. we're only given so much amount of money to continue pushing the project along until we get approval to build, until we go to construction, until it's in operation. And as the project continues to mature, we have more and more funds readily available to us. And that's where the ongoing dialogues with the communities, the counties, and other groups kind of go along, and we put those scholarships and different funds in place. A few of our other projects in California, we give out annual scholarships to students in disadvantaged communities. We have ongoing STEM programs and training programs in trade schools. These are things that we've done in our past projects that we strive to do on future projects as well.
And these are benefits that we work on the community with, right? So they should be solutions that come from the community. It's not something that we necessarily dictate, but we do have the values of our giving as well, and we hope that's also reflected. I think the main point is that, this is not something we're made to do. We do this because we believe in it, and we believe in being a good steward and good neighbors of the community.
Well, that was my only question, is I'd like to see you be a little better steward. That's the only thing, just because I know what school districts struggle with, especially here in the South. And as I look at the economic study that you provided with it, thank you, I appreciate that. Without the abatement, Beltville was looking at 2.6, about 2 million. That's versus 75,000. That's quite a delta. That's why I asked the question. I would like to have seen more go into it.
I mean, I agree, Rick, and we're going to do our best, and once again, like as Jeff mentioned, these will be ongoing dialogues that we have with members of the community to identify where we can be good stewards going forward. The one thing we're pointing out, and Jeff kind of touched on it earlier, is, this is it's a competitive project, it's a competitive market. So we're asking for the city here to incorporate this enterprise zone for the project, because without the incorporating the use of the enterprise zone, the project's financials don't pencil out, and there'll be more competitive projects in other enterprise zones across the state of Illinois that will be competitive, and there will, the delta of that tax money coming from the project, it won't happen regardless. So we will continue to have those dialogues, but this is where we're currently at.
So you've been on this for 2 years, and I'm sorry, you said you expect to be online, did I hear?
In 26.
26.
Correct, start construction in 25 and go to operation 26.
Okay. All right.
The average development life cycle for a project of this size is roughly 4 to 5 years. This one's moving along a little bit faster, but an average utility scale project takes about 4 to 5 years from conception and idea phase through all the different pieces that kind of go along through the development
So that
cycle.
includes the 2 years you've been working on it, that 4 to 5 years?
Correct.
Mr. Rivas?
What's the longest your company has operated a solar facility?
Our current longest one is 8 years?
10 plus years out of Maryland, so.
Mr. Glad?
Do you have other projects in Illinois like this going on?
There are other current projects in development, but nothing's in operation currently, in Illinois and in Indiana.
I know we have representatives from, I'm sorry, the
I just have another question. So I'm assuming the two big incentives of the enterprise zone are obviously the real estate tax and the sales tax. The bulk of what the incentive to you is the real estate tax incentive, correct? As far as material-wise on sales tax, I can't imagine the bulk of the materials for a solar array are available within Jackson County to purchase.
Correct.
Correct, so
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
so your incentive does come mainly on the pre-sale property, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure, we don't have very many city solar projects in Jackson County, so I don't know typically what kind of assessment change do you guys see if it were not to go into the enterprise zone, what type of assessed value do you see from the start of a project where you start on farmland to if it's improved real estate or whatever that would be? Is that, what type of percentage increase? Because that, obviously, how you would calculate what the money earned by the county and then distributed to the taxing bodies would be. I'm sure Illinois is a different animal than other places that you have.
But just make sure I understand the question correctly. You're just asking what the delta would be if there was no enterprise zone if the project were to be built versus if the enterprise zone was incorporated for the project with the.
Well, basically, like, so after when your project is done, what kind of assessed value difference do you usually see from what the property was prior to, because a lot of times dollar for dollar, dollar for dollar money put into the property doesn't always equate to what the property is worth as far as a fair market value or something like that. And that's what it's assessed at for the taxes. So, I mean, the estimates that you have in your economic growth, estimates what that tax revenue would be over the long term. What kind of value do you equate to what that property would be after the project's complete?
So usually the increase in property value is due to the equipment being put on the property.
Right.
So that's where it comes from. I mean, these aren't cheap projects to develop. I mean, I think this project here is projected to be $190 million. Once again, right, economy's crazy, market rates, that could change in the next 6 months. And all the increase in usually property values come from the equipment, and that's what the company itself takes on to pay those increases in tax. The landowners will not pay those.
Ms. Hughes?
This may have been in some of the information that we got, and it's an old brain.
You don't look at data over 21.
Thank you. I have a word on it. They don't make notice, but no, I'm kidding. How many people, once you're up and running, how many, and I don't know if I mean people or households, but how many people can this solar farm furnish electricity to?
14,000.
14,000, and that probably was in the information, and it's back here.
That's an approximate.
Yeah, I'm not, 14,127 and a half. I'm not asking for this. I couldn't remember if it was in there or how many people could possibly service. And on previous projects that you have up and running, are you at full capacity in most of those?
Yes.
In a good part of them? Can you tell me a percent of where you're at full capacity are?
So all our projects have varying sizes. Our smallest project is 5 megawatts, and our largest one we're building right now is about 400. So the projects ebb and flow.
Where does this fit into?
This is 95 megawatts.
Okay, thank you.
So it's about 1,200 acres we part of the project.
Gotcha.
When we produce power, as I mentioned before, we have to find a buyer of that electricity.
Yes.
So we're contractually obligated to provide 95 megawatts of electricity for the life cycle of the project.
Minimum?
Correct.
Okay.
We can't overbuild.
Okay, gotcha.
This is the 95. So we can provide the 95 megawatts of electricity to approximately 14,000 homes over the life cycle of the project. Anytime that we stop providing 95 megawatts, we're in contractual obligation to fix that. So that can come in terms of, we have X amount of time to restore that up to 95, or we face fines,
Okay.
legal issues, stuff like that.
Yeah, I wondered how you kept that going.
So, I mean, there are times where things outside of our control, right?
Sure.
Solar eclipses where we take into account. But we're contractually obligated to provide.
Can't change them?
Sadly not. But we're contractually obligated to provide the electricity over the life of the project. And anytime we're not, we have to, that's where those full-time jobs, they'll report the site and do any repairs, upgrades as necessary to bring that facility back to full operation.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
John?
How much, do you have on-site battery storage?
No. The batteries will be part of this project.
Well, I hesitate to say there are people from the school district here because then we'll have another question for the company. But I know we have members of the school district here. I know Mr. Spain is here. I'm not sure who wishes to speak from that group, but if they wish to speak, they're welcome to do so at this time.
I'll lead off and everybody can follow if they choose. Kevin Spain, Superintendent of Colorado School District 196. I think one of the first questions I have is, when this project's done, what impact does it have on Murphysboro?
Is that a question for
That's for the council.
Well, we know there's none.
Okay, so here's the thing that bothers me. One, so you realize that you're a vote, a yay or nay. Yet, the El Dorado School District is the entity that is most impacted by this project, by far. Way more than the county, way more than anyone else, our school district. I am very passionate about doing everything I can for the El Dorado School District. So my second question is, have any of you reached out to the school district to get our thoughts?
Well, nobody from
I
the
think
school
that-
district
I think
reached out
that-
to get my thoughts either. I think that's
Yeah,
about
but I
It's
called
telephone
for
calls both
and
ways,
emails.
so, I mean,
I haven't actually reached out per se. People have reached out to me, and I've talked with them very openly and honestly about, from your area. But to pick up the phone or send a text to someone out there in your school district, no. You know, my gut feeling here is you feel like you have to defend the fact that you need this or want this, and I don't know that you have to do that.
Well, I just, is what, I know that this has been on the agenda more than once here. Carbondale.
2 weeks ago was the first discussion.
Carbondale put it on the agenda, passed it the same night, no debate, no, they don't, just like you, they don't have any skin in the game.
No, they don't.
The county is the only one.
I'm going to take just a slight opposition to that. This is public money,
Correct.
and that's it. That encompasses everybody within the county. It's their money. So that's, to say that, yes, do we benefit directly here in Murphysboro? Probably not, but it's still the residents' tax money that's going to help us. And I'm in your favor here.
Right, I get that. So I would like to clarify something else, because if I understand correctly, someone was at the last meeting, voiced some concerns about the incentives, felt like a rebond should not get those incentives. So just, again, I'm very passionate about this. I think my administrative assistant, Mr. Tony Thomas, can attest to my level of enthusiasm when I get phone calls about it. But November 19th, 2015, a representative from Egyptian Electric Facility came to us and said, if you don't approve this, we will go somewhere else and build, and you'll get nothing. Straight out, in a board meeting, I have board members that will attest to that. I struggle with that when the person that spoke out against it works for that company. My thing is, yes, we need this. I've got a building that's 90 years old, a building that's 80 years old, both of them need replaced. I've been in the district almost 12 years now, and when I came to the district, one, straighten out finances, we're there. Two, build a new school. That's what I've always dreamed of. This may not get us all the way there, but it gives us a chance. I can tell you also that there are multiple former El Dorado teachers teaching in this district in Murphysboro. Every year, we get teachers that get phone calls from administrators in this district offering them jobs. I jokingly talk to people that and tell them, we're a really good AAA team. You train them up, and then somebody else takes them. So, to me, we need to pay people that supports us that opportunity. This is, on the end is Mr. Bridgman. He's my construction teacher at the high school. I think this project, and I've had discussions with the Redon representatives, this gives our kids an opportunity to go out on a site, because we all know that there aren't enough people working in vocational programs, trade programs. They're not there. This gives our high school kids an opportunity to go to a site like that. Construction, electrical, renewable energy, to go to those sites and learn something, see what it's like, and decide if they want that opportunity. They want to go into something like that. I believe there are multiple advantages to this, without a doubt. I will also say, they've already they spoke to me, I've discussed with them several times over the past weeks. They've already donated to the Eagle District, to be honest with you. They talked to me about donating. I had a project in mind, and then I had 2 coaches come to me and say, I got to replace uniforms. So I mentioned it to them, and they're like, okay, we'll cover it. So we are the ones that it's impacted the most, by far. And I just would urge you, and I mean, I haven't, because we don't really get a say in it. Last Thursday's board meeting, my board, we did a resolution urging this council to approve these amendments to the ordinances, just pass. That's my school board, because they know we need it.
Other questions, comments from the council?
I guess, my only question is there any other economic impact to you guys other than the
Tax revenue.
the tax revenue, and that would be by, and
I mean, we have the
full
same,
amount, you know?
like I said, Egyptian Electric came to us eight years ago, and we agreed to, it's the very same deal, 100% for 5 years. It's just now dropping off that first 5 years. This year is the first year that we get to claim that on our levy, and then it'll be 50% for the next 5. But some is better than none.
And if I can comment real quick too, the economics that we provide is only for the first 20 years of the project that we contract the power. These numbers will be greater because the project's going to be around a lot longer and a lot operational, longer than 20 years. So those are just the, I guess, in quotation marks, worst case numbers. The numbers will be actually higher in the course of the life cycle of the project because it's going to have behind it as well.
I want to make a suggestion that in future proposals that you make to various governmental entities about property tax abatement, that you do not write on the tax revenue page, which was page 20 out of the 40. This analysis assumes that the project pays the full property tax and that no tax abatement is involved. From the very beginning, that is what caused me to start questioning whether or not the enterprise zone should be extended, is because your own proposal to us says that you are not expecting to get any property tax break. And if we don't extend any property tax breaks, then El Dorado gets their money now, and they get more money than they would get otherwise. And so I've been confused all along how you can say that if we don't give the property tax break, that you're going to pack up and, go to Wyoming with this project or wherever, but your own words handed to me, black ink on white paper, say that it doesn't contemplate the property tax abatement. So how do those two things square in reality?
Yeah. I mean, so, yes, I mean, without the enterprise zone, the cost of the project is going to go up significantly.
But would it go up so much that you wouldn't do it?
So these are competitive projects, just like
I understand
just like when you go
competitive
buy.
projects, I understand that. I understand all the marketplace is competitive. Will you do this project with or without the property tax abatement?
The project will 90% most likely be dead on arrival since it will no longer be competitive in the marketplace. Just like how you're buying a brand new truck, as you guys were talking about earlier, you're not going to go to the dealership, buy a brand new F-150 when you can get it down the block $5,000 cheaper. It's the same truck, same miles, brand new off the lot, same color. It comes down to who's going to buy the power, and if someone can buy the power from someone else for less money in the enterprise zone, just like how we're going to buy a less expensive truck that's the same truck, the same thing's going to happen with this project. I mean, that's the financial metrics to it.
It's difficult for me to believe, because when you get done selling the SRECs, which you'll get paid 15 years for the potential generation on the SRECs, I assume you're going to generate those SRECs and try to sell them on the marketplace. Is that
These
right?
aren't REC projects.
These are not REC projects.
These are PPA projects, so someone's buying electricity directly from us.
Okay,
So there isn't extra credits.
You won't be getting any solar renewable energy credits on this project at all?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. Is there any other questions from the council, members of the public? Yes, sir.
What are the potential residual effects to the property or ground where you're building these solar places?
So there's been many studies that have been done, and they all show that, the credible studies say that there's no impact on property values next to projects such as this.
That's much property value. I'm talking about your ground farm area. There's animals around, domestic animals, cattle and such.
Wildlife preservation,
Exactly.
that's something that we want to explore during the construction and development is preserving those sites as much as possible if there's identified preservation.
And it might even look like if special fencing needs to be added for the wildlife and the habitat, we do that.
Mr. Urvis?
I know we built a road and we had to pay into the wet bank. Is that something that sometimes happens with your company?
So, you got interesting topic.
Turtles don't come to you.
No. The interesting about this project is we're not going to have any impacts to wetlands or water bodies. We're avoiding all this. So yes, they are present on the site, but we will be buffering from them. So we're not impacting them, so there are no mitigation credits or permits required for them.
Are we ready to call a vote on this? Go ahead.
I move approval that we amend Article 1819 as proposed.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have two considerations here. The other is consideration of amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the County of Jackson, City of Murphysboro, and the City of Carbondale for the enterprise zone. Richard Blake, I believe these are just two interlocking ordinances needed to...
I believe for purposes of the approvals needed, that those need to be two separate motions and voted on separately.
All right, well then I would ask for a motion on the second item as that is presented on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We thank you all for being here, members of the school district and others that were here for this issue. Appreciate you coming.
This is approval. When does county vote on that?
Tonight.
Tonight? Okay.
I would call for I don't expect everybody who's here for this issue to stick around while we talk about the oil and chip program, so I'll call it a 5-minute recess if it to, make your way to the seat over there. If you don't, you're welcome to. All right. Moving back along to our new business under public improvement. Mr. Glad.
Oh, we have a resolution before us for legal services for agreement for Phase 2 awning grant. And I understand that we have received a second grant.
Yeah, I'm excited to say that we applied for and received the second round of awning grants to of $82,000, so it'll really help extend that program and continue to beautify our downtown. It's a great opportunity for those businesses. Sandra's got something.
It's
to say.
82.5.
Oh, 82.5. Anyway, don't want to shortchange yourselves. Anyway, this is just something they need to help.
Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion approved and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That concludes this with any public comments on being none. Back to you, sir.
All right, that takes us to Public Works, and Alderman Coleman, if you don't mind, I'd like us to handle these items sort of in reverse order, because we have a couple of residents here that, I know one of them is sort of on a long break from work, from the hospital.
You can have it, Mayor, go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you, Gary. Under Public Works, we have discussion regarding sewer backups on Tina Drive, and we have Melissa Legans and Shelby, remind me your last name.
Maglich.
Maglich. And they reside on Tina Drive. And some time ago, when we had a rather large rain, you both experienced some rather nasty sewer backups in your home. And so I'll let you sort of explain what you experienced.
Okay, so I had just gotten back from vacation. I was at a trip in Florida, and I was unloading my car. Went into the house to use the bathroom, flushed the downstairs toilet, went back out to the car to unload the rest of my stuff. And when I walked back in, the toilet was shooting raw sewage, probably 6 to 8 foot in the air, and my entire downstairs got flooded, and I was ankle deep in wastewater. And it completely flooded, like I said, the downstairs. It went into my air ducts. Vents, I've had to pull like sheetrock off the wall and all the trim, and my animals were in it. It was really quite disgusting.
Okay. And Shelby?
So kind of the same situation after she flushed. Basically, the people who were on site told us whoever flushed first got it worse, but we also got it. We got a combination of sewage and water. My 3 children were in the bathtub when it started coming up the bathtub. So I had to be that person and grab all 3 of my children. It completely destroyed our downstairs area, our bedroom, our bathroom, our living space, our kids' playroom. I mean, we had to live in a hotel for 10 days before someone could come out and get it cleaned up.
The only reason why I stayed was because I really had nowhere to go. I probably should have left my house because it was really bad.
And so they both were filed claims essentially with the city. The insurance reviewed those claims and denied those claims based upon the fact that, as they often do, we could not have known that this issue was going to occur. And I want to say that I think our Public Works Department does an excellent job in maintaining and maintenance the lines. I don't think it's anything that they did wrong, but it does bother me whenever we have been for the last year, looking at lining the sewers at Tina Drive, and we can't line them because they're disjointed and not in line. And so they have homeowners insurance, which has covered a lot of their problems. But a frustration of mine has been that our insurance company seems to never cover a claim. And if you're a resident sitting on Tina Drive and you see city workers out there scoping the sewer line, saying, boy, the sewer line sure isn't in good shape, 3 months before you have this happen, and then you get a letter and he's saying, well, we could have never known that there was a problem down here on Tina Drive. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow. And I think between the 2 of them, they've presented me with some receipts and some things that they've spent money on, and I don't want to necessarily speak for you, but I know what I've got so far is, I think, Shelby, you've got somewhere between $3 and $4 grand, and you may have around $2 grand, and,
I'm not done.
okay.
This is just the cleanup and the dumpster that I hired, as far as.
Have you been reimbursed anything from your insurances, either one of you?
A little bit. but-
Yeah, a little. So with insurances, with sewage, you have to have a certain clause in there that states sewage. They will not cover you if it's just, if you don't have that in there, they will not cover you. And we both thankfully had those in our insurance.
No, I didn't. Mine was, there was some kind of loophole because it was something that happened in the street itself. But they did put a cap on what they paid. And like I said, I haven't done any remodel or anything yet. I just did like stripping out and cleaning.
And that's how ours was. We have not touched the remodel either.
Right.
Those invoices that I presented was just the cleanup part of it and what was needed to be ripped out.
Well, you know, there is a limit to how far, you know, the city can go, but it frustrates me to go in very specific cases, not in every case, but I felt like in this case, the city ought to consider doing something for them. Gary?
Well, I know, Brandon, you're not the only people that's ever had this. And they go back, the insurance company says it's an act of God because of the rain made it back up. But we shouldn't have any rainwater getting in our sewer, really.
No, because the water line also busted that evening
And-
from the fact that the sewer backed up.
A lot of people have to put, my brother had this on Roberta Rock, the sewer backed up in his basement. He had to go through and break out in there and put a check valve in there, so it closes. When it comes from the house, it opens and goes out and then closes back. And we, I don't know how you feel on this, Will, but we have never, the Wright family had it over there on the street. And our insurance has never paid a dime, and the city's never paid a dime on any of them.
Well, what bothers me is when the insurance denies a claim and says the city couldn't have known that there was an issue with this sewer main, but we've been down there looking at that very specific sewer main, saying that this thing is not right. And I know there was a clog, there were some towels and everything in there, and I feel like our disjointed sewer main that we were aware of likely made it easier for that stuff to clog up. And, you know, if
I've had, even, you know where I live,
Right.
up from Tina Drive, way up there, when they were doing that big, well, I talked to Harold and Tim both, I was in a panic because it blew things up in my bathroom,
Yeah.
up there, up that high from Tina Drive, so I know what the pressure can be.
I mean, I have video, the water was
Yeah.
shooting.
I was gonna say, yeah,
It's
we
scary.
both equally have videos, pictures that can justify what we encountered, and it was
It's scary when
absolutely
it happens.
disgusting.
Yeah, and if this was not a basement, this was the main level of my house.
Same. Ours was a living room, a bedroom, a bathroom. I mean, my children were in the bathroom. And my daughter now is afraid to take a bath because she keeps saying, dirty water coming up. So,
Well, I guess I don't want to belabor the conversation, but it's my belief that in this specific instance, that we ought to at some point consider looking at what their damages were and consider reimbursing some amount of that. And, you know, I understand it's not been something we've typically done, but I think that this specific set of circumstances compels me to believe it's what we ought to do. Mr. Gladden.
What did our agent say?
Well, the agent says that, you know, we could not have known that at this particular, it's the same thing they send in every letter. It's as if they got they review the claim. I
So
mean,
the agent is also my car insurance agent, and I showed her pictures, and she was appalled that it got denied.
Well, it's not the agent, it's the claims.
yeah.
I know,
And-
but I also know insurance agents who do a lot of business with their companies have some influence, but obviously she doesn't, so.
From what I'm understanding, they said that it was up to now to the city to push back. And that if the city couldn't push back, then there was nothing, it was out of their hands.
Who said that?
Didn't your insurance lady say that when you said that? The city needed to be the one to push back.
My homeowner's insurance,
Yeah, or no, the city who you talked to.
their agent,
Yes, they're your personal agent.
well, she contacted them and basically said, like, called me back and said that they're not gonna cover it, and that we needed to come to you all.
I mean, so here's my issue, we don't have a dollar amount, we don't have, she's not even done yet. I think since, in my time on the council, we've had at least a half a dozen people come and we've told them, if you had a backflow device on there, this wouldn't happen anyway.
Well, that's one thing that I did ask, was for maybe that to get covered, to get put on my property, I don't know.
I mean,
if
but
it's
that's
like-
on that's on the part from where you connect to the city, between where you connect to the city and your house. It's not on the city side that backflow device would go on. If it were something where we had a collapsed line or something like that, I mean, during a regular scenario, that sewer line is functioning. It's not like we're, operating on a barely functioning sewer line down there. We have a sewer line that, obviously is a lot of the rest of the city is. It's, it's older. We're maintaining it as we can to keep it working the best as it can, Will we do new sewer in the whole city if we could? Yes, we can't do that. I think just in my time, as many people will be told no, and as many times this is likely to happen again, it would be hard to pick and choose who we say, oh, well, that sewer line we think is this one, so we're gonna refund you on this one, but we're not people that come to us, or the last people that came to us and asked for it, and that's my only issue. So I said, this is literally at least the 5th or 6th time since I've been on the council that somebody has come with backup issues because it backed up from where they went out to the city thing.
We had a gentleman in here probably a month ago, if you remember, on 8th and 9th Street, to come in.
Well, to me, the difference in this case is the knowledge of the issue with I'm a resident, 30 days before this happens, I see our, engineering company out there cameraing this line, this sewer main.
Right. So, but it's something that they found while they were carrying, something we neglected to fix that caused that to back up at that time? I mean...
No, but
so then,
the condition of the line creates a scenario where that thing is going to plug up more easily, I would have to think, than if it wasn't. But that's my, problem, is the knowledge of whether or not there's an issue.
Richard, do we have a right under our insurance policy to, like appeal their denial and submit evidence of why we think they should cover it?
We would have to look at the policy, but I would doubt that's a normal provision in our policy.
Well, I'd be interested to at least check it out.
That would be nice to know if we could appeal it.
You said a plastic, we denied, I know what you're saying, our sewer lines are like that all over town. We don't know when this is gonna happen or don't gonna happen. I understand the insurance company saying that. But we fixed the sewer line the best that we knew how and paid to have it fixed. If we go back on the guy that we paid to code it, It's something we've never done in the past, and I feel sorry for these two ladies. If you do it for them, you have to do it for the next one and the next one. I mean, it's the same issue. That's why we have an insurance company, and I don't go along with the insurance company. But that's why we have the insurance company to decide these claims. Can they sue our insurance company? I imagine they could.
Well, they could, and then, we'll be paying that bill.
No, I agree with, I understand what you guys are saying, but, I agree with what you're presenting, that this is a totally different circumstance that we're talking about. Something that shooting from, I just can't,
I
I just
mean,
can't
my
imagine.
washer and dryer were covered in sewer water. I mean, it was the bathroom, the living area, the foyer, my garage, when I opened the garage door, it all just ran into the garage. It was down into my, I was ankle deep.
Yeah,
It was water. And I hadn't been home for 7 days, so this wasn't even my own waste. This was the waste of everybody on Tina Drive and
Yeah.
up.
Well, I know Will was talking about just a different circumstance that, and I agree with, I think it ought to be a consideration. I don't know what Tim, I mean, about the idea of the sewer line and whether we knew it or not. I mean, obviously you know.
We reacted to it just like we do anything else. There was a blockage and they called in, I think you called the police department.
Yeah, because it was after hours, so there was nobody else to call.
I think we called the crew out, we got down there within the hour and there was a blockage, grease and rags.
Prior to that, was there anything that you guys would have known of that would have
As far as the
believed
fit?
that there was a higher risk of this backing up down in that area?
In that section, no. I mean, not that particular section. Further up the line, though, it is an issue.
Because didn't you say the blockage was actually on 17th Street?
Right, yeah. It was between the transition between Tina Drive and 17th Street where it actually dumps in. That's where the blockage was.
I remember when this flooded Mrs. Rock's basement. I think it got 2 or 3 foot in the basement. Once I started raining, I had to clean the house up, my daughter running the same thing.
If you guys want to see, I have pictures of when water was coming out of the ground.
Oh, yes.
Because I called Tim, and then I also have video and pictures of Ms. Levin's property and all the stuff on my phone, if you guys want to see all of that, because I forwarded the information on it, that's going to help you make a decision or not.
Well, I would just say that, 2 ladies here this evening, if you wish to, say that what you've submitted to this point is what you're going to submit, or if you believe that there are other things you want us to consider, then please let me know that, and I will continue to have discussions with the council, but it doesn't appear to me that there is a consensus here as to what exactly we want to do.
Gotcha.
I would want to see a dollar amount before I made a final decision. Anyway, I don't want to just say,
Right.
yes, back and then you, a week from now, send us a bill for $25,000.
Yeah, for myself, what I presented is all I'm at. I'm not even half of that. I'm not looking to make a lot of money, at least a little bit for some of the damages that we experienced, and not even that we had to take out of savings to stay in a hotel that our insurance wouldn't reimburse us that, because there is a cap on it.
Tim, do we know how their sewer line is hooked on the side or top?
I don't know how the taps, I wouldn't know how the taps is.
That makes a difference a lot of times if your sewer line is going in the top or the side, because naturally if you get a full sewer line, if your pipe below that, it backs up toward the house. If you're through the top, it don't come up and then go. But, that makes a big difference in.
The houses on the south side are significantly lower than the houses on the north. They share the same sewer main in Tina Drive.
See, and this flooded so bad that it even started running into Browns Lake.
Yeah.
Like it was pouring out of the back of my house, down the hill, into the lake.
All right, well, if there's no other comment from the council on that, thank you so much for taking time off from work to be here at the meeting this evening. And I'll continue to be in communication with you, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. And he has 2 of my invoices. The only other thing that I'd ask for help for would be like to replace the trim that I had to pull out.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening.
All right, that takes us to a discussion regarding the junkyard and tow yard on Enterprise Avenue. Gary, will you take it back over?
Fine. And this, I think, Charlie, and there's somebody wanting to buy the property to put in a salvage, wreck cars and stuff.
They have some folks in the audience with us. I think the folks showed the cover.
Yeah, Norfolk Fred Trucking, the Pathetic Fred Trucking, is the location of this.
I mean, I was to say, if somebody buys it to put in a salvage, they have to fence it anyway, don't they?
Yeah, there's some stipulations in the ordinances that what they would have to abide by.
What's gonna happen to the lawnmower business that is in there now?
Well, they're trying to sell is the whole issue.
Well, Matt, can you
They're
speak
trying
to
to
this?
sell is the whole issue.
The lawnmower business is gonna remain there for 2 to 5 years. They're gonna rent from us and keep the business there. And we're gonna take over the backside of the shop and the wash bay for the trucks. As far as being a junkyard or a salvage dealer, we are not. We're a storage facility, an impound yard.
You're just gonna store for the insurance?
We're impound.
We are an impound facility, and we temporarily store vehicles that are requested to be towed by Murphysboro Police Department, Jackson County Sheriff's Department, etc.
What about all the semi-trailers on it now?
Those are
Those
not
are
ours.
not
Huh?
ours.
Those are not ours.
No, but if you buy the property and
Those
they're
will
on it, you're gonna be responsible for them, aren't you?
Those will be gone,
Those will
as
be
far as
gone
I
as far
know.
as the sales concerned. Everything he's got there, he's gonna take. That doesn't regard to the lawnmower shop.
I drove through it the other day, you know, and just looked it over. But you're mainly just storing till the insurance company
Yeah, until.
pays
either-
or gives you the vehicle
Yeah,
to get
until
rid
the
of
owner
it.
comes to claim the vehicle, or the lien holder comes to claim the vehicle, or the insurance company comes to claim the vehicle.
Or the state awards us the title to the
Right.
vehicle.
Well, that's longest, worst case scenario.
Yeah, worst
correct?
case
'Cause if
scenario,
you guys
yeah.
then inherit the vehicle and the title, and then you.
At that point, we would take that vehicle over to our Carbondale location, where once a
you guys have
year.
somebody come and crush
Yeah,
Come in
a
and take
crusher
them once a
comes
year.
in once a year and crushes what becomes ours.
I think that's what Sweeties used to do down where they had theirs. They crushed a lot of vehicles once or twice a year.
Yeah.
One of the clauses in the revised code, it says on the storage of vehicles for 90 days. I can't guarantee that that vehicle will not be stored for 90 days.
Yeah, especially
I currently
since
have
COVID.
one that is on hold for the police department's been 260 days.
Yeah.
So is
So-
that gonna count against us for renewing our license if a picture's been taken and next year they go to give us our license renewal and they say, well, you've had cars there for over 90 days, you're not in compliance.
Well, that's kind of beyond your control, with the police department or the county, either one.
I will say the vast majority, 90% of the vehicles that come into our lot are ones that are gonna be pretty much, at least at the Murphysboro location, are gonna be ones that are gonna be there for probably right around the 90-day mark, and then they will be taken to the Carbondale location. Now, there are some outliers on that, so that's gonna be, you know, the police department occasionally wants to seize a vehicle. That is a hold that we have no control over, and they may sit there. I've had them sit there 2 years.
We currently have one
Before-
for Carbondale Police Department.
That's-
That's been almost 4 years.
That's involved in a murder case, and it's been there for many years, and we can't do anything with that vehicle until we get a court order that says we can. So it's just on hold until we hear from them.
You do get storage on that vehicle though, don't you?
No.
Well, only if someone was to pick it up, but after this amount of time, nobody's gonna pick that up.
I just want to say that there was some, you know, question and whatnot that I had when this was first proposed, but I really don't have any question about it anymore. I talked to Mr. Shelton, and I think he's reliable, I think he's honest, I think that he'll do what he says he's going to do. One of the things that I was concerned about was, you know, how it would look from the
I was gonna say, the
highway.
highway's so much
But
higher and
You
where you
know,
look
Matt
down on
has,
it.
you know,
Well-
said that he would consider planting like a row of trees there, so over
Okay.
time it would
Yeah,
perhaps.
and we have no problem doing that, you know.
It can't
Yeah,
look much
masking
worse
some
when
of
you
that.
get it than it does right now.
I'm sorry.
It can't look any worse when you get it than it does right now.
You all are more than welcome to come to my place in Carbondale and look at it.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I have one of the better looking tow yards in, I know in Jackson County, and
Yeah.
probably most in Williamson County. I take pride in what we do.
We want things to look nice. We
Yes.
don't like having dilapidated vehicles any longer in our lot than we have to have them there. I try to stay on top of the paperwork. I'm the paperwork person, so I try to stay on top of all of that and maintain that so that it's a, you know, a process, and then it goes to get rid of if we get the title.
I think some people was worried about selling, you were gonna go in there and store them and sell parts off of them and make it.
You have Correct.
You know,
You have to have a separate license
I
from
know
the state of
it's
Illinois to
shelter,
do that, and we have no intention of doing
I
that.
take him at his word and,
Yeah.
you know, besides he's gotta get a license after every so often anyway, so he's gonna keep
I
that
think
at
it's
his
once
word.
a year.
He
My
does a good
concern
job.
is putting this much money out, and I need some kind of security showing that in 1 year that I'm not gonna be denied because I had a car sitting there for more than 90 days inside the impound.
That's not gonna happen.
Did we not receive a recommendation, an endorsement from Chamber of Commerce?
We did. Barb?
When I talked to Charlie about this several weeks ago, there was something that you alluded to or told me that in the ordinance, there's something about having a salvage yard within a certain area.
There's 500 feet tenant residence.
Okay, right.
This is a business district. The only place in the ordinance is that it mentions a junkyard. That's not allowed is in ag, lane 1.
Okay, and that's not zoned as ag at all.
Right.
No. Okay, I couldn't remember what it was you told me. I'm not against this, by the way, I just wanted to make sure that
There was some
we
issues
were covering
with-
our bases if we had to change the ordinance.
There was issues with other junkyards in town, but they fell under that.
Okay, all right.
Within 500 feet of a residence and
Okay.
up there is
Thank you.
obviously.
I just couldn't remember quite what you had told me about why there was something in that ordinance.
Mr. McCall?
We don't really have to make a motion on this to allow it, do we?
Not at this point, there wouldn't be.
It's under the law, we're not gonna deny you a permit. So I would say that you could probably move forward with your plans without, we don't have to vote and say, yeah, you can do it, or, you know, because it's legal, you're gonna take care of it, and there's nothing you can do if says you gotta hold this vehicle, and you're holding it. If it sits there for a year on a murder case or robbery, whatever, I mean, that's not your fault. I mean, that's not the chief's fault, so we're not gonna have a problem with that, you know.
Just
We
like
won't
the
have
thing,
a
you
problem
don't gotta let Charlie.
with you running the building.
Welcome to Murphysboro.
I think Matt was just kind of worried. It wasn't very clear in the ordinances.
I never could get a straight answer.
Yeah, it was.
I just got the
Yeah.
revised code,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm here I want a surety that if I spend this amount of money, that I'm not just gonna go, that it's gonna put me under if I cannot
Right.
produce income from that place.
We're not gonna turn you away.
Mr. Blake?
I was just gonna say, and I'm sure Mr. Shelton probably spoke with Charlie, there's requirements of fencing and things that would go through Charlie's office.
Yeah, but you're aware of what those things are now.
Yeah, it was in that code, yeah.
You have those
So-
kind of things in Carbondale.
Absolutely.
The main concern is what we have in writing is that you can't keep cars there for more than 90 days, and you have to take us on our word.
And it's not really days, that's where you get in the definition of what is a junkyard.
Right.
So if they're over 90 days and if anything then gets sold, definition of the licensing for a junkyard. But it doesn't mean that the car cannot be there for over 90 days.
So this license that I've applied for, is this for a junkyard?
Yes.
So you're considering me as a salvage dealer, that I'm not
No,
salvage?
it's just, that's probably confusing of the language of what the city
I look
business
at
code
ourselves
is
as a
calling it.
janitorial service for the city. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're issued the complaint of your license.
Okay.
It's, by the city code and by
And
the
those
language of the
requirements
business
are
license.
listed in the revised code, correct?
Yes, and whatever Charlie's given you, and
Okay.
I mean, he's the one that's kind of, I know, looked through those provisions, and it's under the business code is where this provision lies, yes.
change that junkyard terminology in that ordinance? I mean,
It's an old provision.
obviously.
It's not,
We're rewriting the book.
it's kind of all over the place, and then actually we found it in the business code, and it's listed as a business, you know, that's where we had found it was in there, so.
Well, Mr. Shelton, do you feel assured enough from what we're saying tonight that you feel like you can move ahead?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're happy to have a new business.
All right, thank you.
When do you think you're gonna start that?
Well,
We'll move
start the
forward now.
process now, so,
Process, everything kind of put on hold.
until we have this, so.
Let's move on to the consideration of this estimate we have for the wastewater treatment plant. I think everybody got a copy of it in their packet. And they want to put this to be done in the next budget. And $13,593.20. Pat, if we move this into January, the next budget, they still guarantee this price?
March, 18 to 20 weeks to get the parts. 18 to 20 weeks to get the parts to repair.
It's just going down.
And this is the pump that was replaced with the ARPA fund pumps that we purchased back in March.
You need this spare pump anyway, don't you?
I recommend fixing it.
So I entertain a
Why the
motion
sewer plant, this pump station.
to have this pump repaired.
That you want it into next year's budget? Correct.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Yeah.
I see approval, so I could tell them to go ahead and order the parts to get them.
Yeah, that's fine, just tell them, when they want to get paid, it'll be next year. Then, you know, if they got any questions on that.
I make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Nay? Ayes have it. The next thing on it is oil and chip program for 2024.
Mr. Lee?
Darren asked me to handle this in his absence. What he was looking for tonight was an approval to basically start, this is the northeast side of town, quadrant town, and he was looking for approval to at least start with the leaves falling. He could do some trimming of limbs and try to make preparations for 2024. So that's what he was basically asking for tonight, was approval for that.
In which quadrant, Tim?
Northeast.
Northeast?
Yes, sir.
We did kind of start going back to the quadrant system. I remember that's what we used to do all the time, and kind of there for a while, kind of got out of that. But I did look at an estimate that the last time we did this, it was about $63,000, but I did notice that had 7th Street on there, which obviously we're not going to do, and part of Enterprise also, which is scheduled to be replaced. So, you know, it's going to be significantly less. I'd give a copy of this to Darren, and he's going to look at it and go out and look at some of these streets in this area too. Then we'll get back with a cost estimate.
I will have somebody arrested if they don't chip 7th Street.
It was alley, I'm kind of gun shy about that, so.
So make sure it's not on any
No,
of the maps.
I'll be out there chained to something.
Because it's on the map, don't do it.
It was on the map, I said I
Yeah,
had
you may have a new road, you may have a new business.
Don't let them do that.
So, we don't really have a dollar amount
No,
on this
no,
yet. I would
no.
suggest move this to the next meeting.
I think what Darren was wanting was just the authorization that this was going to be done this year. Northeast. Yes.
Harold, what's the boundaries of the northeast quadrant?
It's pretty much, Mike, it's, looks like it's about, actually 16th east all the way over to Barbarossa's on this map too, so. And I know before, you know, obviously taking 7th Street off we'll still oil and chip from Illinois Avenue to the railroad tracks, you know, where we stopped. And you know, I know before, if there are any bad streets in town that need some attention, you know, we've always kind of added those in to whatever quadrant we're doing. So you might take a look in your own wards and see if there's anything like that.
It takes them a good 6 weeks or so to clean those areas up. Isn't that what I think I remember
I think
saying
he's
that.
looking
I don't know why
to,
can we just tell him to go ahead and start getting ready for that quadrant? Or do you need some of that motion?
he's looking to do this over the winter,
Yeah.
you know, when he's got a little more time.
Instead of doing it in the fall, he's wanting to try to get this done a little earlier in the year.
Do you need any kind of,
I don't think we need a motion this time. We could just, if Darren was here, we'd say, Darren, go ahead and start proceeding with preparation.
tell Darren to go ahead and do it?
No, we really don't need a motion on do it?
No.
No. Okay, that's all under the new business. Under old business, I did check on the machines and stuff, which I brought up before, and I thought was gonna be on the agenda, but it's not. The First Bank and Trust, that they would finance it on a 6-year loan. The payments on 6 years at the price we got now is $3,800 a month for 6 years. But we're gonna have to call the John Deere guy tomorrow and tell him to release this machine. They are holding it in Mount Vernon for the city of Murphysboro, but they can't hold it that long. I mean, you know, we're gonna have to tell him that we'd have to wait maybe in the next year to do this, and the prices are going from John Deere is going to go up about 2%. So that changes around some. But I like the idea of having them being in-house, tearing down the houses. Show how much money you spent tearing down houses this year.
About 35,000.
Huh?
About 35,000.
You know, I mean, it's buying them equipment to tear down the houses or tear down the car wash of these buildings or do the sewer line. When you tear down a house, you still have stuff on the side. You're going to have dumpsters, which I talked to the guy at Southern Illinois Waste. He said he could get the dumpster. I'm just going to put that out there, and then budget time we can talk about it, and I'll let it go with that. And Tim, if we get the skidster, we can sell the old blade that we got, which I don't know if you can buy parts for it. It's almost older than me or Donnie.
Yeah.
But, thank you. Almost. But I think it will sell at Canning's auction and bring some money, not a lot. But as everybody think about that, you can talk to Tim, he could use the machine. When we do 15th and Poplar, that would dig all of that down there. We wouldn't have, on the deep sewer lines, we don't have, even if our equipment would dig one of them 30-foot deep, which we put in along the river, you gotta have 2 to 3 cages coming up out of the ground to make it safe. And we don't have that, so we couldn't work with something like that. But I just want everybody to think about that, talk to Tim, talk to Darren. I mean, I'm for it, but I'd like to see us all in-house on tearing down most of these houses, and it's something for the people. To me, tearing down the houses would be, if our city guys do it, would be more a winter project. The grounds pro, don't tear up as much stuff. Both these equipments we looked at, made sure that they come with rubber tracks. So, the other thing, I bought the candy today for Halloween. It's a week from tonight. We're going to do it at the Little Park, and I think our city ordinance is 5 to 8 o'clock. Yep. So I'll probably be up there between 4 and 4:30 just to set up. Chief's going to bring his little car tore up, and the chief offered. If anybody wants to come up and pass out the candy, we're there. I know a few years ago we even cooked hot dogs up there in the park. But
I'll be coming dressed as a wetland critter.
I bought a little less candy this year because we had so much left over last year. But anybody wants to be there, be there. It is a fun time with the kids.
See what that looks like.
Is there any public comment on public work? Here none, we can move out, Mayor, thank you.
Public safety, Mr. John Earl.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no old business and we have no new business. Do we have any public comment? Right along.
We'll come out of that and go on to personnel. Chairman, Ms. Barbara Hughes.
Mayor, right now, there's no old business, no new business. Is there public comment about personnel? You can come out of that, Mayor.
The mayor's report, Barb Anderson, who does work at the Murphysboro Youth and Rec Center, reached out to me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. This gentleman, you have a flyer in your packet. He's a motivational speaker. He travels around the country. He obviously is paid to give these sorts of presentations, which she feels is worthwhile. Was asking the city to help fund his appearance there. And she said that anywhere, between $500 or $1,000 would be really helpful. And I said, I'll put that before the council for consideration. And I just have such respect for Barb that I just trust the things that she wants to do are worthwhile. And we could take this out of Civic Celebrations budget to help pay for it.
Where's this gentleman?
I'm not exactly sure where he is from, Gary. All I really know about him is what she told me over the phone, which was mostly based upon this flyer that she had given.
Mayor, I'm going to donate $500 to help the cost.
Okay. Second. We have a motion and a second to donate $500 toward the cost of motivational speaker. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
This money go to him.
Yes.
It'll go to the cost of it, right?
Yes.
We don't know what that actual cost is.
I do not know. No. She said that she, how hard it is. She just said anything to help.
He was in prison in North Carolina.
Council member request, Ms. Hughes. Ms. Kerwitz.
No, thank you.
Mr. Austin.
Nothing, sir, thank you.
Mr. Jackson.
Nothing, thank you.
Clerk Hunsaker. Mr. Pittman.
Nothing, thank you.
Purvis.
I had something, but I forgot it.
Very important. I'm just here to help John remember.
That's why I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Pritchie.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Glenn.
I appreciate the council's backing of the El Dorado School District.
All right. What department head request, Attorney Blake?
Nothing to report.
Ms. Whitley.
Two things. One, just a reminder that the November and December meetings have been moved to the 1st and 3rd. And then our group photo of the council will be the 7th at 5:30. I know, John, you said you wouldn't be here. Figure out how
First
that-
and third in November.
And December.
The 1st and 3rd Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So it's the 7th and 21st. And then
I'll send you a headshot from the ocean.
Mr. Evans.
Just announcement that the next few weeks we'll be meeting with department heads to get their wish list for the budget, so sharpen your pencils and be ready for that, I guess.
Chief McBride.
A hay bale last Sunday afternoon, and it was one of those things that was going to be a mess to get it out of there. And I called Darren in the afternoon, and he sent Mr. Spradling out right away with a backhoe, and we made short work of it out there. And I really appreciate him taking my call, and he's got some good people working for him. So another kudos to Darren and his crew. And also, I'm glad that you're doing this for Matt and giving him the go-ahead, because he runs a real tight ship, and I like it. Thank you.
Chief Elmeyer.
Yeah, the same. Matt's been towing our cars for probably 3 or 4 years now, and a whole lot better situation than what we had when I first got here. You know he's on top of it every time, so, and he holds everybody responsible when they come and pick their cars up, to have everything legal, their plates, their insurance, the whole 9 yards, so he's helped us out quite a bit, so.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Sheffer?
I'm just glad Matt hasn't towed my car.
Raleigh?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Lee?
If you remember, a few months ago, we entered into kind of a contract with the people of Mays Road, and they were going to help pay for the project of that water main extension. We started that on the 16th. We finished it today. We did 3,000 feet in 7 days. These guys are pretty hard. They're probably a little grouchy with me. But it's done. We got it done before the weather hit hard. We got 2 hydrants to install, and that project will be complete.
Excellent.
Have they paid?
Great.
Thank you.
Have they paid their part?
Right now. We'll invoice them next week.
Okay.
Dreiser?
I was gonna say, Tim's guys, the amount of pipe that they load in the morning and get done when they come back, it's empty, it's pretty unbelievable, so they've been kicking butt with it. Second thing, Hanson Street duplex has been torn down, and we've been past there.
Amen.
No, it's one.
Got on my list 7 years ago.
Like the second day, I think you told me that's when you wanted it done. So. Sorry, it took me 2 years, but we got it down. And then also we went ahead and did the Pine Street house that needed it as well. So both of those are gone.
I didn't see that.
I don't know if I'll be able to get another one in by the end of the year, but we're getting there on that. So.
Mr. Gladson?
I have nothing, thanks.
All right, I hate to do it, but we do require an executive session this evening, so I'll go to the recess and we'll come back and consider.